Gero here for Umbra Games with a review of Doom on PlayStation 4. As a data guy, and the way I track games and game history, I hate it when companies name two games indistinguishably from each other. Doom was originally developed and released on PC in 1993, published by GT Interactive. Doom 2 was released in 1994, originally released on PC as well, also published by GT. Doom 3 came out 10 years later in 2004 and was published by Activision. Now, while there have been a few spin-offs and expansion packs, we haven't had a true main series entry for Doom since then, making it 12 years. In this age of reboots, though, id skipped the Doom 4 moniker and decided to go straight with the title Doom for this 2016 release. I will say, though, if any game deserves a reboot and is allowed to keep its name, it is this game. This is how reboots are done. The nameless Space Marine Doom guy, well, I guess that's sort of a name, returns awakened from his imprisonment to a Mars once again overrun with Hellspawn. He alone has the power to fight the demonic forces, travel to Hell, shut down the portals, and of course destroy everything in his path. This time there are characters and AI to talk to in the space station to provide some background to exactly how things got this out of hand. In this case, it's harvesting Hell energy to use as a resource, and then a lead scientist turns cult leader, and, well, the rest is history. You know, I appreciate that id thinks that Doom needs a fleshed out story this day and age, and they wrote one with objectives that were fitting and varied. But I'll be honest, when I grabbed that first yellow key card again, it took me back years. And honestly, find the exit would have been just as good of an objective as any. Pretty much all of the Doom staple enemies return, from imps all the way up to the Barons of Hell, with perfectly, beautifully rendered, detailed 3D models. But Doom Guy brings the firepower to stop them, with a weapon wheel for quick and easy access to the game's 8 main weapons, and the 2 super weapons are accessed by face buttons on the controller. Weapon mods can be obtained to provide additional support, like locking triple fire on the rocket launcher, and stun bombs with the plasma rifle. On PS4, R2 is your trigger, and L2 uses whatever mod you currently have equipped, switched out quickly with a press of up on the directional pad. Ammo can feel limited supply at times, but once you find your first chainsaw, you can pretty much use it to one-hit kill anything and it will shower you with ammo. The chainsaw isn't unlimited use though, as each increasingly difficult enemy you try and chop takes more fuel bars, so you'll be scouring the station for gas. I'll leave the other super weapon a secret for those of you who haven't played the game yet. I want to take a second and talk about what makes this game so great. I had a slightly younger friend of mine start playing it at the same time, and he mentioned how hard he thought it was. That there was little to no cover, the game was really fast-paced, and even on normal he was having a little bit of a difficult time. I merely replied, "Welcome to the old school." And then I felt old. It's funny to me that after Doom 1 and 2 and all the spin-offs, that the first-person shooter genre became so overcrowded that they thought they had to change up their formula and take a slower-paced survival horror spin in order to be different with Doom 3. Now in an age of corridor cover shooters, they went back to what made the original Doom great. Fast-paced gameplay, open maps that sometimes require key cards and hidden rooms and collectibles. I mean, he's right, the demons will find you in your cover. They're agile and they spawn everywhere. Your health doesn't regenerate on its own even if you are sitting in cover undisturbed. You have to collect health packs and then armor on top of that to keep yourself alive. It's such a breath of fresh air and exactly what was needed for a modern shooter. To add to the madness, there's now this concept of glory kills. When you do a significant amount of damage to an enemy, they get staggered and start glowing blue, and you can run up to them and perform some visceral finishing move. And depending on where you're looking, when you press the action, limb or head or back or in the air, there are up to 5 or 6 animations per enemy. Not only does this look disgustingly awesome, but you're also awarded with life drops, and eventually armor and ammo too. The character and weapon leveling in Doom is very in-depth. As id did it with Wolfenstein: The New Order, they improved on it even further for this game. In order to upgrade weapons, you have to track down the bots in each level that carry it in their claw. Once found, you can unlock one of 2 weapon mods for most of the weapons in your inventory. After the mod has been opened, you can apply weapon upgrade points, gathered by completing a certain level of combat on each map, completing the special combat challenges, and for exploring and finding the game's secrets. Once you pay for all upgrades for a weapon, you have a final challenge with it to complete to gain a bonus and mastery of that weapon and mod. This upgrade loop makes you play the game where you're not only tactically choosing a weapon for the enemy type you're facing, but you also have a checklist in the back of your mind about what it is you need to keep using, often pushing you to vary your tactics. The maps in Doom get to be pretty expansive. Most took between 45 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes my first time through, as I was searching pretty thoroughly. You really have to get to all the corners if you want to obtain all the combat point weapon upgrades. There are also several forms of collectibles to be found, and most are utilitarian. The first are called Argent Cells, and there's 1 or 2 per stage, and these allow you to upgrade your health, armor, or ammo capacity. You can find chips to power your suit as well, allowing you to reveal things on the map, make grenade cooldown go down and storage capacity up, and also protect you from environmental dangers, like, blowing yourself up. There are also Doom Guy dolls, 2 per stage, that are pretty expertly hidden in a lot of cases, and once found, will open up character and weapon models to view. There are log files you can find that add to your database of knowledge about the environments, and enemies, and NPCs scattered all over the place as well. There are some things that are just plain secrets. Usually they'll have armor or health in them. I think I hit about 75% of them organically, but the added effort to scour every wall and ceiling of every map to get that exploration weapon point just 1/4 up became less and less worth it as the game progressed. Although, seeing some of the old school Doom textures and hidden areas with modern enemies was good for a laugh or two, but it hides their secrets really well. The final thing to seek out are the rune challenges. Upon uncovering one of these floating inscribed pieces of stone, you're sent into a trial to perform a challenge quickly, including gathering things and killing things with certain restrictions. If you complete the challenge successfully, you're rewarded with a runestone that further customizes your playthrough. Each rune can also be upgraded by performing tasks as you play the game, giving more depth and diversity to the campaign. You can eventually equip up to 3 of these at a time. You can replay any mission you want at any time if you've missed the collectibles as well. There was one tiny loophole I felt a little bad about exploiting, but all of the progress on your rune and weapon building and stage challenges stay even if you die. So if you, for example, have to kill 10 enemies with explosive barrels and you find a good choke point to get a few at a time, you can do it, and then die, and when you respawn, do it again, and again, until you hit your mark. We do have a little bit of first-person platforming in this game, a little bit more than I remember with the older Dooms. But in this one, it's actually very forgiving. Noticed several times the screen would kind of jerk just a little bit when I'd grab a ledge, especially when I wasn't lined up perfectly right, but it errs on the side of helping me complete my jump, which was perfectly fine with me. The double jump gained about halfway through the game helps even more in making the navigation around maps that much easier. In fact, play control in general is perfectly spot on. Yeah, I prefer consoles, and yeah, I can make headshots better using a keyboard and mouse, but there were several video-worthy moments of making like a 2-story jump while perfectly putting a super shotgun blast directly into an imp's face on the way down. There is a multiplayer versus mode that had co-developed with Certain Affinity, known for some of their work on Left 4 Dead with Valve, as well as some Halo and Call of Duty work. Those that know me know that I don't get too much into the multiplayer versus modes of shooters, and I do appreciate the speed at which these matches move. I didn't spend a whole lot of time here, but I could definitely see the appeal. The customization options were nice, and it looks like there's several things to progressively unlock, but it didn't really get any hooks in me. But that's not why I play the game. There's another gameplay option called Snap Map that tries to fill some of the modders' desires. With Snap Map, you can make your own custom levels, including rooms and the enemies within them, as well as logic and trigger points. There's a community where you can share yours and play others, adding quite a bit of potential for those who can't get enough. Graphically, Doom looks great on PlayStation 4. The load times were a little bit long between stages, but unless you're warping to the rune challenge or you die, or I think one of the immense stages had a transfer point to another giant map, there really was no loading once the stage began. Doom's soundtrack is full of pulse-pounding metal and rock, exactly what I was conservatively raised to believe hell would sound like. It's funny walking into the aforementioned hidden areas with the old Doom textures and sound though too, because the metal in this game sounds exactly what they were trying to achieve back in the day with their synthesizers and space limitations. I always kind of hesitate to put a quantitative score on reviews these days because really it's the qualitative view that makes a review worth something. But as I started this review with it, I'm a data guy. I like trends, I like numbers, and I like rating systems. Using my first-person shooter genre rating system, Doom gets a 96 out of 100. I've gone through the numbers several times, and this game is just so solid. The only possible thing I can objectively complain about with its design is that it's just a bit too short. And the name, but with a game this good, they can call it whatever they want. But yeah, we need more. They help satiate that desire with the promise of DLC as well as the Snap Map feature, but I I did a quick check, and most of the Dooms of the past featured at least 20 levels versus the 13 featured here. And I would have been okay with some reused environments for a couple of stages with no story addition, if only to extend this well-designed adventure just a little longer. But is not enough truly a valid complaint? Will it ever be enough? That's the real question. This is Gero for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. Tired of the gimmicks? Tired of the hate? Do you just want to know about the game? Subscribe here for #objective reviews or follow me on Twitter @Umbra Games.